Professor Emeritus Tan Sri Dato Sri Engineer Dr. Sahul Hamid bin Abu Bakar, Vice Chancellor of UNITA International University, distinguished guests, lecturers, staff, students, presenters, participants, ladies and gentlemen, good morning to all of you. And a very warm welcome to our guests of honor, forum panelists and plenary speakers. Professor Dr. Jayakaran Mukundan, University Putra, Malaysia, Dr. Rosina Mary, Early Childhood, New Zealand, Dr. Shakina Rajendram, Assistant Professor, University of Toronto, Canada, Mr. Jared Yong, Ministry of Education, Malaysia, Mr. Tanesh Balakrishnan, UNITA International University. Thank you to the Faculty of Education and Humanities for organizing our International Conference of Education INCOED 2021 and for inviting me to deliver the opening speech. I am honored to be part of this milestone event. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been about 2 years since the whole world was shaken by the pandemic of COVID-19 that descended upon us with a fury, leaving major parts of the world, including those in the education industry, in shock. We were not quite sure at that point what had hit us and were in many ways unprepared. Although the impact has been far and wide, at this point in time, to a certain extent, the education scene has come to terms with the aftermath of the pandemic, the disruption in education, the potential education loss, the gaps, emerging hybrid landscape, new technologies, new challenges, modes, modalities, and the list goes on. We are at this point, hopefully heading towards a post-pandemic season, a season where we may now need to reflect on the changes that have happened in our own lives as educators, as students, as stakeholders, or as part of a community where education plays a key role. We are now, in a way, also looking at all that the pandemic has stirred up in our system, the good and the not so good. We knew certain serious issues existed in the education system. Issues like inequity in terms of students' access to basic health care, mental health care, food, housing, their access to connectivity, Wi-Fi technology. Now, these inequities have existed previously, but the pandemic has laid them all bare. We are also faced with the possibility of education loss, of possibly an entire generation losing out to the education they deserve. But in a way, being in a position where we have no choice but to take a long, hard look at the situation before us could actually be a good thing. And another good thing that has happened is, which many educators have to admit, is the way that they have now come to terms with the integration of educational technology in their teaching and learning. Most of us here, both lecturers and students, were certainly faced with the changed platform and delivery modes of classroom lessons and lectures. Some of us adapted very quickly. Others had a bit of a struggle trying to catch up with the technology and the terms that were so unfamiliar to many of us at that time in early 2020. Learning management systems, online platforms, Zoom, Google Classrooms, Microsoft Teams, synchronous, asynchronous learning, digital tools, and the list just goes on. But at this point, almost 2 years later, many of us have not only managed, but have adapted to the new ways of doing things in education. We are now in the midst of the transitioning and the reimagining of education, the slow or quick embracing of technology in our classrooms, schools, universities. The role of the teacher is changed, perhaps forever. Perhaps there's no going back to exactly where we were before all this happened. But with all that has happened, new decisions may need to be made and some crucial points need to be addressed. Will education's sudden encounter with online learning lead to something sustained and productive? Or is this a short-term thing that serves the purpose, just fills the gap? How can technology be used in a more powerful way when it moves from simply being a system of delivery to a vehicle of collaboration, discovery, understanding, and action. And to reimagine learning, we need to reflect on what we already know about learning, on our students, the new role of technology, and the complexity of an uncertain future. How do we balance the use of technology and still maintain the crucial aspect of the human touch, which is so important in education, so that our students encounter deep learning experiences that produce learning that sticks for life? Learning that is profoundly personalized, collaborative, student centered, and is intrinsically motivating for students as they pursue topics that are of real interest to them. How do we, as human teachers, optimize the use of technology, all the lessons we have learned throughout the days of the pandemic and beyond the new normal, into creating meaningful learning experiences for us? At this point, where we are hopefully progressing towards a fully post COVID ideal, there are three big changes that education should make: curriculum that is developmental, personalized, and evolving; pedagogy that is student centered, inquiry based, authentic, and purposeful; and delivery of instruction that capitalizes on the strengths of both synchronous and asynchronous learning. Ladies and gentlemen, INCOED 2021 is committed to this with our theme of education beyond the new normal, balancing technology and humanity. And it is my sincere hope that everyone will benefit from this conference, especially as we move forward to a post-pandemic season beyond the new normal. At this point, I would like to commend the organizing team from the Faculty of Education and Humanities for their brilliant effort, and all related departments for the cooperation and contribution to INCOED 2021. We recognize your hard work in making today happen. I wish all of you a pleasant time with us. May you gain many valuable insights and be enriched. Thank you.